Hey guys, it's Chris at Highline Guitars. You're watching another one of my YouTube guitar building videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope that by the end of this video, you'll consider subscribing. What I'm going to be talking about today is I am continuing on with this project to finish this guitar. And this is one that I started years ago. And for some reason, I'm not even sure why, I never finished it. It just hung up in the corner and it became a test bed for different finishing products, fret leveling tools, and so on. But now I've decided I'm going to go back in and finish it because it's really a pretty nice guitar. It's got a nice mahogany back, a nice flamed and spalted maple top, a Chechen rosewood fretboard, maple neck. It's a pretty cool guitar. So I've decided I'm going to go ahead and invest a little time to finish it. And what I've done so far is I've sanded the wood to 400 grit. Then I started applying tung oil as a finish. Now, tung oil is a really popular finish, especially among woodworkers and guitar builders, because it's so easy to apply. It makes wood look beautiful and it offers some degree of protection. It's not like a polyester clear coat or anything like that, but it does look nice. And if you take care of your guitars, it's a finish that will keep looking nice for many, many years to come. Now, a question that comes up a lot is, can you polish or buff out tung oil to make it a glossy, shiny look? And the easy answer to that is no and yes. It's no if you're using pure tung oil, because pure tung oil will soak into the wood and it dries with a very matte sheen, and there's really not much that you can do to polish it. Now, depending on the species of wood, if it's a really hard and very dense wood, you could sand the surface super smooth and then polish it with the right kind of buffing equipment. But that takes a lot of work and it may not be worth the effort to do that. However, you can polish or buff out tung oil if you're using polymerized tung oil. And lately I've been on this kick where I'm using Sutherland Wells polymerized tung oils. And I love this stuff. I mean, it works a lot like true oil. You can apply it, it will dry very quickly, and then you can start applying additional coats. You can level sand between the coats, and then you can build it up in thickness. And then get to a point where you can level sand it, polish sand it, and then buff it out. And that's what I'm going to see if I can do that today. What I've done is I've applied 5 coats of Sutherland Wells polymerized tung oil onto this body, the neck, and the fretboard. And what I'm doing now is I'm polish sanding. I'm using super acrylic sanding abrasive sheets. And I started out with 600. Then I moved on to 800. I'm on 1,000 grit right now, and then I'll continue with 1,200, 1,500, and then I'll probably finish around 2,000, and then we'll take it out and see what happens when we put it up against the buffing machine. So I'm just going to continue to get this sanded, and when I come back, we'll be at the buffer. Now let me show you what the surface looks like after sanding to 2,000 grit. It looks pretty satiny, almost a flat sheen. But then when I hold it up to a bright light, you can see that it shines. And that's an indication that the surface can be buffed out to a high gloss shine. Now, if you look at the back, you can kind of see that it's got some shine to it, but it's not quite as reflective. And that's because my intention for this guitar was sort of a satin to semi-gloss shine. I really wasn't going for that mirror-like high gloss shine. If I wanted to do that, I would have just sprayed it with a 2K polyurethane. So as a result, I did not apply any sort of grain filler or sanding sealer. I just applied the tung oil straight to the raw wood. And after I had applied the 5 coats and then sanded it down to the 2000 grit, I thought, let's see what happens if I take it to the buffing machine. I don't think I'll get a high gloss mirror-like shine because I didn't take those earlier steps, but I think I'll get a pretty good idea of what the potential is, and that's what my goal is for this video. I use the same buffing strategy that I use when I buff out all my clear coat finishes, in that I start out by doing a medium cut compound, and in this case it's a Menzerna P204 compound, and I'll use that on a soft cotton flannel buffing wheel. After finishing with the medium cut compound, I'll let the guitar hang and cool for about 30 minutes. Then I'll wipe off all that buffing residue with a microfiber cloth to make sure that there's nothing left on the surface. Then I'll switch to my second set of wheels, and I'll use a Menzerna P175 Super Finish compound to really bring up the shine as high as I can possibly get it. Okay, well, as you can see, it comes out pretty shiny. And my goal here was not to do a high gloss mirror-like shine on it. I just simply wanted to get a nice satin to semi-gloss sheen. And if I wanted to get a high gloss, you know, a deep mirror-like shine, I definitely think you can do that with the polymerized tung oil. The only thing I would do differently is I would definitely fill the grain, seal the wood before applying the polymerized tung oil, and then I would probably apply somewhere around 8 to 10 coats, applying them as thin as possible, and that means wiping it on and then immediately wiping off the excess so that there's just a real thin film. And you just build that up until you have sufficient film thickness to where you can go back in and do your level sanding, polish sanding, and then buff it out. But I definitely think you could get a nice high gloss shine with the polymerized tung oil if that's what you wanted to do. But like I said, I was going for that satin sheen, and I'm really happy with the outcome. I think it looks fantastic. Okay, so in conclusion, I definitely think that with Sutherland Wells polymerized tung oil, you can achieve any level of sheen from dead flat matte all the way up to a high gloss mirror-like shine. It's definitely doable if you've got the right equipment, like a buffing machine and that sort of thing. And as long as you fill the grain, seal the wood before you apply the tung oil. But once you've done all that, there's no reason why you can't get pretty much any level of sheen that you want. And that's of real advantage to those of you out there who don't have spray equipment or the facilities to spray a finish. I do. So when it comes to doing a really high gloss mirror-like shine, I'll probably stick with just spraying the Centurion water-based 2K polyurethane that I like to use, because it's much faster and it's much easier to do it. But if you don't have that opportunity or the equipment to do that, you definitely should consider the polymerized tung oil from Sutherland Wells. It's extremely versatile, and you can get pretty much any level of sheen that you want, and it dries really super fast. Now, I know some of you are going to want to know, well, what's the difference between the polymerized tung oil and a product like Birchwood Casey's True Oil? And in truth, it's just the ingredients. The polymerized tung oil is basically just tung oil. It's been heated and then has a little bit of thinner added to it to make the viscosity easy to work with. The True Oil is linseed oil based, and it has other ingredients to it. I don't know what any of those are, which is one of the reasons why I like the Sutherland Wells polymerized tung oil, because I know exactly what's in it. With the True Oil, I don't. I don't know what other kind of ingredients they mix in with it other than the linseed oil. And you know, for some folks that's important because of physical reactions that they have to certain chemicals. And I have some reactions myself to certain types of chemicals, so knowing what's in the polymerized tung oil makes it much more user-friendly to me. So, but that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video. So if you're looking for a product that is affordable, easy to apply, and can achieve just about any level of sheen that you want, I think that Sutherland Wells polymerized tung oil is definitely one you should consider. And I'll put a link down in the description below if you're interested in checking it out yourself. Until the next episode, though, as always, take care, stay safe, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you soon.